an all-timer. This is one of those nights that you will always remember where you were between John Calipari going back to Lexington and leading an Arkansas team that entered at 1-6 in the SEC and leading them past Kentucky in a game that they really controlled wire to wire. And then an hour later, the world stops and Luka Doncic gets traded to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis and just a move unlike anything we've ever seen. But John Calipari, as good a CEO in college hoops history, right? Might not, 2025 might be different, but let's face it. In terms of being ahead of the curve a decade ago and having everything in the palm of his hand, and last night he walks in and Tyler, Big Blue Nation is on their feet. They are booing him. They are booing a national champion, a guy who took him to 4 Final Fours. They are raining down boos, and what does he do? His team plays the best they have all season by a wide margin, and they win at Rupp. So, Tyler, my first question to you is this. Were you happy for Cal? Were you laughing at BBN? What did you think of this whole situation?
Well, first of all, I thought it was Cal's best coaching job in Rupp. I will say that.
Bingo.
And this is mind-blowing, but Arkansas, heck, for all their struggles, they look like a hell of a team in Rupp on Saturday. And I will just say this, for everyone who doesn't know Big Blue Nation, the thought of them actually coming in and when Cal walked out onto the court, who really thought they were going to cheer for him? Big Blue Nation, if you know Big Blue Nation, they are booing him. And when I saw Big Blue Nation give it to Cal, I just laughed. And I was like, that's Big Blue Nation for you. But, I've criticized a lot of Kentucky teams for their lack of three-point shooting. And they went into Rupp, Arkansas, and they shot 52% from the three-point line. Lit them up. I thought, a lot of their struggles, Wagner played well. Johnny Davis, who has been a little bit inconsistent, came in there. He played well. I just thought that Arkansas pretty much controlled the majority of this game. And, sometimes when you have games like this where there's a lot of noise, can be a little distracting to some of the current players maybe at Kentucky. Maybe they got caught up in it. But Arkansas went in there with the mission. I thought it was one of the best coaching jobs Cal's had in Rupp.
Yeah, the hard thing with this, Fana, and I'm curious your take on it, is that all these Kentucky guys all the Arkansas guys had a certain level of motivation, right? Like, this is Cal coming back for his revenge. This is Big Z coming back into the building that he left, where I'm sure, I promise you, his Instagram comments, his Twitter messages, his DMs were probably flooded with people yelling at him. The same thing with DJ Wagner, the same thing with a dude at the row, the same thing with all of these freshmen that committed to Kentucky and then followed Cal to Arkansas, right? Like, all of those guys had a level of motivation beyond, we have to win this basketball game. And I think Kentucky came in and, Mark Pope knows what it means, but there's only so much that you can tell your team to say, like, hey, these guys, they want to kick your ass because of everything that has happened around this narrative and around the story. And it felt like one of those things where the moment was built for Arkansas and these guys who, frankly, are talented enough that kind of performance should happen way more often than we've seen. If the thing that's kind of frustrating me coming out of that is you space the floor. You put Big Z in pick and pop situations. You had shooters out there that created all of these driving lanes for Nelly Davis and DJ Wagner. And then you let these guys, these talented guards, get paint touches. And if they could finish. If they could spray it out to shooters, they sprayed it out to shooters. Like, that was modern basketball that we spent like 5 or 6 years just calling for John Calipari to play when he was coaching the blue team in Rupp Arena. And then he comes in there, Woo Pig Suey, Tyson Chicken, and does it to Kentucky. Like, to me, that's the thing that probably cuts the deepest for these Kentucky fans, Tyler. You nailed it. Like, he coached one of the most impressive games we've seen him coach in the 2020s, and he did it for Arkansas. Like, that's rough, man. That's a tough scene. I got to eat a lot of crow in Arkansas there, but that's honestly one of the funnier things that I think could have happened in the world of college basketball this season.
he had the last laugh. He went in
Mhm.
there and had the last laugh. He walked in, you knew he was going to get booed for how things ended. That awkward Mitch Barnhart interview, which they acted like they were friends. You knew there was tension. And this has been, I think, what makes this funny / entertaining / amazing / yes, it was meant to be, right? Was an Arkansas team that has had a horrible season to this point, where virtually everything's gone wrong. Your boogie flan's done. It looks like everything's going to shut down. And this is one of those things where if they do nothing else this season, they did this. And for Cal, the reward of that, the satisfaction of that, the beauty of that for him, for one night, he was Cal in all of its essence. And the irony is, it was inside the building where he won well over 200 games, and Tyler just delivers the best of them all. You could argue that is as good of a coaching performance, as good of a team performance that he's had, and it was in red. It was in Arkansas red.
Twisting the knife, twisting the knife.
That is what makes it. That's what makes it so entertaining. But you know what? You could tell the nerves were there. It was the classic case of the prodigal son meeting this master, on the other side, or self-proclaimed a little bit, but master for a while. He's lost his fastball. And on this night, his kids played for him. And I want to give credit, Tyler, to the Arkansas players, because it could have been easy for them, Tyler Hansbrough, for them to get caught up in the whole game and just crumble. Those kids fought for their coach. You got to credit them for understanding the magnitude of things. I thought Kentucky, they had no answer defensively. Sure, it helps when you make shots over that defense, but that Tyler Hansbrough was really, really impressive.
Yeah, and I thought Big Z played really well for them. He continues to improve, but I'm with Doster on this. I really thought Arkansas, they've had a disappointing year, and they're honestly one of the more disappointing teams this season so far. But I really thought when Cal went to Arkansas, I really thought he would turn it around. I thought when his players came over there, I really thought they would make some noise this year. But Fanta, to your point, you could tell that his players really wanted it for Cal too. They were making all the small plays that don't show up in the stat sheet as well. They were putting pressure on Kentucky defensively. When they got the ball, they were pushing it, running it, making the extra pass. Arkansas, they looked like a top 5 dominant team in college basketball in Rupp.
I'll say this, and then I know we got to move on.
Can they salvage it, Rob? Can they salvage their season?
Yes, it's the SEC. Like, think about it. It's the SEC. Here's what they got coming up: at Texas, Alabama at home, LSU at home, at Texas A&M, at Auburn. They have 3 quad 1, whatever it is. Dagan's going to remind me again what it is, but it's high quad 1A or whatever potential wins coming up. Q1A.
Q1A.
Right? And you
Q1A.
win. Yeah. So if you get hot, and I know it's a big ask to beat Alabama, to win at Texas A&M, to win at Auburn, right? But I do think that this Arkansas team has the talent to be able to win 2 of those. I would not be I think that they can beat Alabama at home. I think they can win at Texas, and I think they could probably win at Texas A&M. And if you do that, you still got that win over Michigan, right? And it's not like you have any horrible losses on your resume. The worst loss they have right now is at LSU, and that's like a borderline quad 1 win. So the question is, can we get that level of effort, that level of performance, that level of coaching ability moving forward? And I said this last night. I honestly just think that the ghost of Eric Musselman still exists in that program, because what did Muss do forever? He was horrible in November, horrible in December, horrible in January, and then boom, February hits and they figure it out and they make runs in the tournament. This is just what Cal's doing. This is just what Arkansas is. They're going to get hot here. They're going to win a bunch of games. They're going to get in the dance, and we're going to wake up and Arkansas is going to be in the Elite Eight. How funny would that be if that actually happened?